Welcome. We are jumping straight into an analysis today, looking at Maggie Haberman's really definitive political biography, Confidence Man.
That's right.
We've got some key excerpts here, and they promise to map out this single consistent thread, tracing Donald Trump's behavior from his earliest days.
Yeah, from New York City real estate.
Right through to the presidency and beyond, really.
And our mission here is to sort of reverse engineer what Haberman calls his operating system.
Operation system, I like.
Yeah. We're looking at the techniques, the core influences, the patterns, how he handled conflict, the media, loyalty. The book argues these were perfected decades ago, way back in the hyper-competitive tabloid world of New York.
So the idea is to isolate those patterns, to understand the continuity.
Exactly. How his approach to business, branding, and then later politics, it all connects.
It's that continuity that's just so striking, isn't it? It suggests the person who arrived in the White House was, already fully formed.
Pretty much, yeah.
So if we look at that foundational strategy, the one the book lays out, what elements does Haberman say remained, absolutely constant?
Well, the book points to this deep, fundamental drive for validation. Haberman talks about an endless stream of praise that Trump always sought.
Right.
But, and this is crucial, this chase for fame was always coupled with a strategy for avoiding conflict, shifting blame.
Avoidance and blame.
Yes. If he felt wounded or attacked, professionally or personally, his reaction was often, outsized and aimed right at the person he blamed.
Okay, let's trace that blueprint back.
Yeah.
Where did it start? The book really emphasizes his father, Fred Trump.
It does. Fred Trump seems to provide that sort of cold, transactional foundation for how to succeed. Haberman details him as this formal, stiff kind of patriarch, someone who focused on negatives, not positives. Unwilling to tolerate errors or imperfections, I think is the quote. Apparently resisted small talk, but openly boasted about Donald, which wasn't always common then. Some peers were apparently quite critical of their own kids, privately at least.
So the expectation was just perfection.
Perfection, it seems, and the reward was external recognition, not internal warmth.
And then there's that really jarring historical detail.
Yeah.
Haberman mentions Fred Trump being arrested back in 1927 at a Ku Klux Klan rally.
Yeah, protesting Roman Catholic police is the context given.
Is that presented as like a core influence or more background?
I think it serves less as a direct, provable influence on Donald himself and more as a reflection of the environment Fred Trump operated in. Cold, sometimes racially charged, and the secrets he kept.
Secrets, like the family's origin.
Exactly. This need for image control comes up again there. The book details how Fred pushed this fiction that the family was Swedish, not German.
Why Swedish?
Because they had so many Jewish tenants, especially after World War II. He apparently didn't want to repel them by being identified as German.
So even their ancestry became a PR move, an early lesson in shaping identity.
A very early lesson, yeah.
Now, let's connect this back to young Donald. Haberman includes this anecdote about his aggression. It feels like a perfect little metaphor.
The story with the blocks, right.
Tell us about that.
Well, apparently, Donald later proudly remembered gluing his younger brother Robert's toy blocks together, just so he could build his own tower.
Leaving Robert with nothing.
Leaving Robert with nothing. It's presented as this really visceral example of, winning at all costs. The goal is just the biggest tower. Doesn't matter who gets hurt or what gets taken.
That really does sound like a summation of a zero-sum strategy. Maybe a bit cruel, but clear. Okay, so Fred Trump provides the cold architecture, but then Roy Cohn comes in, and he seems to provide the tools to weaponize that ambition.
Absolutely. Cohn is painted as the critical mentor. He taught Trump how to build an entire life around basically artifice, using the media.
What were the core lessons there?
Maintain proximity to power, and maybe above all, avoid responsibility.
And that shaped how he saw institutions, government, lawyers.
Fundamentally. They weren't entities to respect, Haberman suggests, but opponents. Part of a game, constant gamesmanship.
And Cohn's idea of friendship was, demanding but vague. Menacing.
Yeah, demanding total, almost dangerous loyalty. And that artifice through the media. What does that mean day to day back then? It seems it meant putting the story before the facts, treating the press like a resource you could just, exploit. Not something to fight against necessarily, but to use.
Create a false impression, then fight like hell if anyone challenges it.
Exactly. It's the artifice perfected long before the gold letters went up on the Manhattan buildings.
Which brings us to that next stage,
Yeah.
the New York Mogul. Moving into the city, The goal seems to shift, and internally, things were maybe not as smooth as the external image suggested.
Oh, far from it. Executives apparently called it the Trump disorganization.
Oh, the disorganization.
Yeah. He deliberately fostered rivalries between aides, kept everyone busy tearing down whoever was currently in favor.
Why do that?
Well, the implication is this chaos kept him at the center. Everyone focused on him, on pleasing him, on fighting each other.
While externally, the brand was just pure luxury, driven by hype.
Totally, like the Trump Tower example, planting that false rumor about the British royals being interested in buying apartments.
Just to drive up buzz and prestige overnight.
Instant prestige, exactly. And this is where his relationship with the media, especially the tabloids, becomes absolutely central. It wasn't just something he tolerated.
No, he actively courted it, right? Appreciated it.
He really did. Haberman highlights this during his divorce, that infamous New York Post headline.
Oh, the best sex I've ever had one.
That's the one, quoting a friend of Marla Maples.
Yeah, most people would hate that kind of intrusion. But Haberman says he prized it.
He did. He apparently saw it as like an advertisement for his virility, his power, even while maybe complaining privately about the press sometimes.
So transactional fame. He wanted the coverage when it boosted him.
Right. But wanted restraint when things got tough, like financially difficult. It wasn't consistent.
And that approach let him spin even huge failures, like the 1990 financial collapse.
Yeah, he was effectively put on an allowance by the banks then, which is incredible.
Allowance.
But he managed to spin it. Or look at the 87 stock market crash. He apparently rushed to tell reporters he'd cleared a $175 million profit, pulled out just before the crash.
And people just believed it.
Haberman suggests everyone just seemed to take it at his word. Didn't matter if it was fully true. What mattered was selling the story, the instinct, the success.
That ability to put narrative over reality, that seems key.
It's the crucial mechanism, the book argues, that then powered his political transformation later on.
Okay, let's pivot there. Section 3, Tactics Go National. How did that New York playbook translate to, bigger stages, civic issues, national politics?
Well, the reliance on conflict, on identity politics, it just scaled up pretty seamlessly.
Any early examples?
The 1989 Central Park jogger case is maybe the most striking early political move mentioned.
Taking out those full-page ads.
Right, advocating that hate should be a civic good, demanding society hate the accused teenagers.
That sounds like pure Cohn playbook, extreme confrontation.
Exactly. Use confrontation to carve out an identity separate from the establishment view and grab maximum attention doing it.
And it definitely raised his profile outside of just real estate, made him a commentator.
A forceful, aggressive one. And that style became his political persona.
Consistent with things he said later,
like, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Phrases he apparently picked up from police contacts in Miami, Philadelphia. He consciously built that aggressive law and order image, unafraid of provoking people.
And we absolutely have to talk about television here. The Apprentice.
Yeah.
How pivotal was that?
Oh, hugely transformative. It basically created this indelible image for millions of Americans. Trump as the successful, decisive businessman.
An image many people just accepted as reality, which was key for his political rise later.
Absolutely key. And that image itself, of course, was built on manufactured conflict. Haberman includes this detail. Apparently, Trump once pitched a season where the teams would be divided by race.
Seriously, black versus white.
That was the pitch described. It shows how central division and engineered conflict were to his strategy, first for ratings, later for votes.
That detail really underscores how calculated the attraction to conflict was.
It seems so.
And that brings us right to the presidency. The disregard for expert advice. That was a feature of the Trump disorganization, right? Did it carry over?
Completely. It's maybe the ultimate continuity Haberman highlights. The book notes that in the White House, Trump disregarded the advice of long-serving government employees, business professionals, and his own lawyers.
So rejecting institutional knowledge.
Yes. His habit was to favor personal instinct. The playbook didn't change, Haberman argues, just the stakes got much, much higher.
Which moves us squarely into White House dynamics. The government machinery basically became the biggest Trump organization yet. What did that actually look like day to day?
It looked like chaos, instinct over process. Think about the transition after the 2016 election.
What happened there?
There are accounts of Chris Christie's carefully prepared policy binders just being tossed out. Trump ignoring Obama's direct warning about Michael Flynn's integrity issues.
Obama warned him about Flynn.
Personally warned him, yes. And Obama, after one meeting, reportedly told his aides Trump was, quote, clueless, with no interest in learning what he didn't already know. A rejection of established authority, yeah.
And the internal culture quickly became about loyalty above all else.
Personal fealty, absolutely. That need for loyalty, the lesson from Cohn, it just resurfaced immediately and intensely.
The James Comey situation seems like a prime example.
It really is. Trump explicitly asking Comey for loyalty, then asking him to find a way to let this go, talking about the Flynn investigation.
Competence didn't matter if loyalty wasn't there.
Apparently not, which helps explain the incredible staff turnover we saw. Spicer, Anthony Scaramucci fired after just 10 days. It operated like a really volatile, constantly feuding New York firm, just in the West Wing.
And the presidency itself, the office, seemed to become another brand extension, focusing on perks and image.
Definitely. His love for Air Force One is well documented. It was the ultimate status symbol.
And the Diet Coke button.
Ah, yes. Haberman includes that famous detail, the button on the Resolute desk to summon a Diet Coke from a valet.
Little eccentricities, maybe, but revealing.
They seem amplified because they reflect this transactional view of the highest office. It wasn't about service, maybe, so much as achieving the ultimate personal perks.
And at the same time, the media, once a tool for fame, it became a weapon.
A cudgel, yeah. Famously labeling the press the enemy of the American people. It cemented that strategy. Use conflict to delegitimize any voice challenging your narrative.
And the paranoia we saw earlier, did that intensify?
It seems it metastasized under the pressure. Haberman's team reported accounts of staff finding, clumped up paper with his handwriting on it.
Clumped up paper? What does that mean?
The suggestion is he'd throw away notes, tear things up, driven by this belief he didn't want certain things seen or preserved, prioritizing personal control over institutional process, over record keeping, even with global security implications.
This dive into Maggie Haberman's confidence, man, it really does reveal just a remarkable continuity. Character, methods. The White House years seem like just the biggest stage for a persona built decades earlier in New York.
I think the fixed nature of the operating system is the absolute critical takeaway. You see these consistent elements across decades.
Like
1, constant use of media manipulation and conflict, defining his own narrative, just like he learned in the tabloid world.
Okay.
2, prioritizing personal loyalty and image over actual expertise or advice from institutions.
Right.
And 3, just the fixed nature of his personality and his tactics, which meant the political fight always revolved around him, the man. Not really policy, not ideology.
Haberman suggests his approach often boiled down to asking, what do you need me to say?
Yeah, performative.
So given that decades-long consistency, this performative approach, always shaping the narrative, not sticking to facts or institutions, does that fixed persona represent his ultimate strength? Or maybe his ultimate limitation?
That's the big question, isn't it?
And what's the next iteration of this style going to be? Now that the stakes have been proven to be so incredibly high.